because that's not.
What if I told you that gospel music, the very sound that lifted spirits and moved churches for generations, has also been hiding secrets that few dared to speak about? While audiences praised the voices, the faith, and the message, there were shocking moments brewing behind the scenes that nearly shook the foundation of the genre itself. From beloved choirs to powerhouse soloists, scandals have surfaced that no one ever expected. Get ready, because these are 10 shocking scandals in gospel music history. 10. Michael Tight's double life and shocking allegations. When gospel fans think of powerful voices that carried messages of faith and hope, Michael Tight's name often comes to mind. He was admired not just for his vocal talent, but for the image of integrity and inspiration he projected. Yet, the industry was shaken to its core when accusations surfaced that painted a far different picture. Several men came forward with disturbing claims, alleging that Tight had drugged them and forced himself on them. For a figure so closely tied to gospel music's promise of morality, these allegations felt like a betrayal of everything the genre stood for. The scandal grew louder when Tight himself admitted to living a double life. That confession hit harder than the accusations, because it wasn't just about personal failures, it symbolized hidden secrets within a world that prided itself on transparency and holiness. Fans who once turned to his music for comfort now felt anger, disappointment, and confusion. This wasn't a minor slip or a misunderstood comment. It was a devastating scandal that cut right to the heart of gospel music's credibility. The Michael Tight revelations exposed the painful truth that even in a genre built on faith, shocking scandals can erupt, forever changing how people view both the artist and the sacred space of gospel music. 9. Kim Burrell's sermon backlash.
Because that's not.
Kim Burrell was celebrated as one of gospel's most commanding voices, a singer whose songs brought inspiration and healing to thousands. But in 2022, the attention shifted from her music to her words, and not in a way she ever intended. During a sermon, Burrell referred to churchgoers as broke and ugly. In a time when many were already facing hardship, her words felt less like encouragement and more like insults hurled from a stage meant for hope. Social media erupted, and suddenly her name was trending not for her songs of faith, but for a scandal that made her seem disconnected from the very people she once inspired. The backlash didn't stop there. Burrell also sparked outrage when she mocked COVID masks and vaccine protocols, dismissing health concerns that had deeply impacted church communities. Instead of clarifying with humility, her public apology carried a tone that many felt was dismissive, almost daring people to remain offended. What could have been an opportunity to show grace turned into an even bigger storm. Fans, pastors, and fellow artists called her out, forcing everyone to reckon with the uncomfortable truth that even gospel music's biggest voices can fall into the trap of pride and harsh judgment. Kim Burrell's scandal became a reminder that words, when spoken carelessly, can do just as much damage to gospel music's reputation as any personal failing. 8. Leandria Johnson's explosive tirades.
Why should the shadows come?
Leandria Johnson was hailed as one of gospel's brightest stars after winning Sunday Best. Her raw talent and emotional delivery gave her instant credibility as the voice of a new generation. But while her music soared, her personal struggles and outspoken nature often overshadowed her success. Things spiraled when videos surfaced of her going on profanity-laced tirades against the church itself. She openly criticized church leaders, questioned traditions, and used language that shocked many who once viewed her as a vessel of purity and inspiration. For an industry built on reverence, her outbursts felt like an earthquake, shaking the very foundation of gospel's respectability. The situation escalated further when she directed sharp criticism at Pastor Marvin Winans, fueling a feud that spread across headlines. While some applauded her honesty, arguing that she was exposing the hypocrisy within organized religion, others felt betrayed and disillusioned. It was as if gospel music's golden child had turned her back on the very stage that made her a star. Later, Leandria apologized, admitting her pain and frustrations had gotten the best of her. Yet, by then, the damage had been done. Her scandal showed how even gospel artists can fall victim to the pressure of carrying faith, fame, and personal demons all at once. In gospel music history, Her tirades remain one of the most shocking reminders of how quickly an anointed voice can become the center of controversy. 7. Calvin Newton's criminal downfall. Calvin Newton's name was once synonymous with excellence in gospel music. Known as the man with $1 million voice, he rose to fame as a member of some of the most popular gospel quartets of the 1950 seconds. His smooth tone and polished performances made him a fan favorite, but behind the spotlight was a man battling temptations that would ultimately destroy his career. Newton became entangled in a series of criminal activities that stunned gospel audiences. From theft and drug offenses to forgery and counterfeiting, his rap sheet read like a crime novel, not the resume of a gospel star. What made his scandal so shocking was the depth of his fall. Gospel music fans had elevated Newton as a symbol of discipline and devotion, but he was secretly living a reckless life, fueled by addiction and poor choices. Arrests and convictions piled up, leaving his reputation in ruins. Instead of being remembered solely for his voice, Newton's legacy was scarred by scandal, prison time, and wasted potential. His downfall highlighted a painful truth that the gospel stage can sometimes mask brokenness rather than heal it. For many, Calvin Newton's story stands as one of gospel music history's darkest chapters, a cautionary tale about how talent and opportunity can crumble under the weight of personal demons and destructive choices. 6. Vicki Winans' backup dancer controversy. Vicki Winans has always been one of gospel music's most electrifying performers. Her energy, charisma, and powerful voice made her a household name in the church world. But in the early 1990 seconds, she sparked a scandal that shocked the industry and divided audiences. It happened when she decided to incorporate backup dancers into one of her performances. For mainstream music, this was nothing unusual, but for gospel, it was unheard of. Many saw it as crossing a sacred line, blending entertainment with worship in a way that felt too secular. The backlash was immediate. Some radio stations even refused to play her songs, claiming her choices disrespected the purity of gospel traditions. The controversy didn't stop there. Around the same time, Winans faced pressure from record executives to make her music more marketable by removing the name of Jesus from her songs. That request fueled another storm, with fans accusing her of compromising faith for fame. Although she later apologized for the dancer's performance, the damage had already been done. What was meant to be a creative expression turned into a defining scandal that haunted her career for years. In gospel music history, Vicki Winans' controversy showed how quickly innovation can be branded as rebellion, and how one decision on stage can spark a debate that reshapes an artist's image forever. 5. Kenyan gospel threesome and disease scandal. Across the globe, the Kenyan gospel industry faced its own earthquake when artists DK Kwenye Beat and Hope Kid became entangled in one of the most shocking scandals in African gospel history. A young woman accused the two stars of luring her into a sexual relationship that turned into a threesome. The story didn't just involve betrayal of trust, it came with devastating health allegations. The woman revealed she had been infected with herpes and pointed to the artists as the cause. Overnight, DK Kwenye Beat and Hope Kid went from celebrated gospel performers to disgraced figures under nationwide scrutiny. The scandal sent ripples far beyond the gospel stage. Fans who had admired them for spreading messages of purity and faith now questioned everything about their ministry. Church leaders condemned the behavior, and social media exploded with debates about morality, hypocrisy, and the hidden lives of gospel artists. Both singers eventually issued apologies, but for many, it was too late. Their reputations were tarnished beyond repair, and their careers never fully recovered. This scandal remains one of the darkest stains in gospel music history, proving that even the most joyful voices can hide devastating secrets. In a genre built on holiness, the Kenyan threesome scandal exposed how deeply human weakness can shatter the gospel's sacred image. 4. William Gitumbe's blasphemous song. In Kenya's gospel scene, William Gitumbe was no stranger to pushing boundaries. Known for his eccentric style, he often blurred the line between worship and entertainment. But his name became a symbol of scandal when he released a song that many labeled as outright blasphemous. Instead of uplifting listeners with praise, his lyrics were viewed as mocking sacred truths. Outrage spread like wildfire, with pastors, congregations, and gospel fans demanding answers. Social media lit up with heated debates, some calling him bold and creative, while others declared him a disgrace to gospel music. The scandal escalated when religious leaders publicly condemned the track, warning that it misled believers and mocked God under the guise of worship. For an industry already sensitive about maintaining its purity, this was more than just a misstep. It was an attack on the foundation of gospel music. Fans who once celebrated his songs were torn between disappointment and outright anger. The backlash overshadowed his career, reducing him to a cautionary tale about what happens when gospel musicians chase controversy instead of reverence. William Gatumbe's blasphemous release carved its place in gospel history as one of the most shocking examples of how an artist can alienate an entire faith community with just one misguided song. 3. T.B. Joshua's posthumous abuse allegations. For decades, Pastor T.B. Joshua was a towering figure in gospel circles, not only in Nigeria, but across the world. His church services attracted millions, his sermons reached global audiences, and his reputation as a miracle worker earned him near unshakable devotion. But after his death, a scandal erupted that forever altered how people remembered him. Former church members came forward with chilling testimonies, accusing him of years of abuse, both physical and sexual. What had once been whispered rumors became headline news, and the man celebrated as a prophet was now painted as a predator. The gospel world was rocked. Devotees who had built their faith around his teachings struggled with betrayal, while critics pointed to this as proof of the hypocrisy that sometimes hides within religious platforms. Investigations revealed disturbing patterns of manipulation, control, and exploitation behind the scenes of his ministry. For those who had once seen him as a living saint, the allegations shattered illusions. This was more than just a scandal, it was a reckoning. T.B. Joshua's legacy, once celebrated as a beacon of gospel power, was stained with darkness. His story remains one of gospel music and ministry's most devastating scandals, proving that even the most exalted leaders can fall from grace. 2. Willie Paul's secular song controversy. Willie Paul rose to fame as one of Kenya's brightest gospel stars, celebrated for his catchy melodies and youthful energy. He became a symbol of how gospel could blend with modern sounds and still inspire the faithful. But his career took a sharp turn when he released songs that sounded more like love ballads than worship. Lyrics filled with romantic undertones and music videos with suggestive imagery made fans question whether he was still a gospel artist at all. Critics accused him of abandoning his faith for fame, saying he had disguised secular music under a gospel label. The scandal deepened as radio stations, pastors, and fans publicly debated his choices. Some defended him, calling his style revolutionary and a way to reach new audiences, but others insisted he had crossed a sacred boundary. For a genre built on spiritual purity, his actions felt like betrayal. Soon, Willie Paul became less associated with gospel worship and more with controversy over blurred lines between ministry and entertainment. Even today, his career stands as one of the most shocking examples of how chasing mainstream recognition can spark outrage in gospel music history. The Willie Paul scandal forced fans to ask themselves what truly counts as gospel and what happens when an artist refuses to stay inside the box. 1. Esther Smith's legal battle over music rights. In Ghana, Esther Smith was widely beloved for her heartfelt gospel songs that touched millions of souls. But behind the uplifting music, a bitter legal dispute unfolded that shocked fans who always saw her as a humble servant of God. The controversy erupted when she accused a management company of exploiting her by taking control of her digital platforms and YouTube channel, profiting massively from her work without fair compensation. The sums in question were staggering, involving thousands of dollars that fans assumed supported her ministry, but were instead fueling a corporate fight. The case quickly spilled into the public eye, dragging her reputation into courtroom drama. For gospel audiences, the idea of one of their most trusted voices battling over money and ownership felt unsettling. To them, gospel music was supposed to be about faith and service, not lawsuits and financial disputes. While Smith fought to reclaim her rights, the headlines painted a picture of greed and betrayal surrounding an artist once admired for her sincerity. The scandal showed that even in gospel music, the business side can be just as ruthless as in mainstream entertainment. Esther Smith's legal fight shocked the industry, reminding everyone that behind the inspirational songs lies a world of contracts, power struggles, and money wars that can turn even a saintly image into a source of controversy. From shocking betrayals to courtroom battles, these scandals prove that gospel music, though built on faith, hope, and inspiration, is not free from hidden storms. Behind the voices that lifted millions stood secrets, mistakes, and choices that shook the foundation of an entire genre. These 10 scandals are more than just headlines. They're reminders that gospel artists are human, flawed, and vulnerable to the same temptations and pressures as anyone else. But what does this really tell us? That even within a space meant for purity, drama, and controversy can unfold in ways that leave lasting scars. Gospel music history has been shaped not only by powerful songs of worship, but also by shocking scandals that forced fans to see their heroes in a different light. Which of these scandals surprised you the most? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more untold stories, and ring the bell so you never miss what's coming next.